And a very good Sunday morning behind-the-scenes interview time here on Worcester Radio. I'm your host, Ron Hamilton. Happy to have you with us here as we get into the month of June here on 104.5 WQKT and AM 960 WKVX. Our guest in studio, we've got two of them today, one familiar with us, and that is Carolyn Salazar from the United Way of Wayne and Holmes Counties. Carolyn, first off, a very good morning to you. Happy to have you with us today.
Thanks, Ron. Very happy to be here, and thanks for having me on again.
Along with Carolyn, Brian Poland, a familiar name for most in the community, especially those who like to run. Joining us here today, Brian, bid you a very good morning as well.
Yeah, thanks for giving me the opportunity to talk about running. It's what I love to do.
We are going to be talking today about the Heart and Soul 5K, 10K, and half marathon. It's in downtown Worcester. It's coming up just under 2 months from now. On Saturday, August 3rd, we'll get into all the particulars of the race, registration, things of that nature as we move along this morning, and we'll bring Brian in. But I'm going to start with you, Carolyn, because let's talk about the United Way's involvement with the race. You know, how involved are you guys? How long have you guys been doing this?
Yes, well, the Heart and Soul race is actually United Way's campaign kickoff event. So it's actually a race that benefits United Way of Wayne and Holmes counties. So each of the registrations assist us in our goal, which this year is $1.43 million. So we're really excited to be in our 15th year of Heart and Soul, and we're partnering with Vertical Runner in Worcester to help us have a wonderful race and what we feel is going to be the best one yet.
Great name, by the way. You know, Heart and Soul. I love the name. Brian, Carolyn mentioned 15th year. Your involvement. How long have you been involved in the race?
Yeah, I mean, Vertical Runner came into Worcester in 2012, and we've really been involved ever since, simply because it's the only remaining downtown Worcester race. There's not a ton of downtown racing, and the Heart and Soul has just always been a staple in the community. So we've been involved since the store opened. Last year, Carolyn and her team came in my opinion, breathed some very fresh air into this race. I mean, they came and they were excited about the race. So for us coming into year two working with Carolyn and her team, we're seeing a lot of marked changes, very good improvements, and just a lot of energy kind of shot in the arm to this race, which has been cool to see.
You mentioned, shot in the arm, and for people who don't run, you think, okay, they just go out and race, but there's so much that goes into it, especially from a volunteer aspect, whether it's people, cheering others on or handing out water. And, with any big event, it takes, a village to put it together. Mm-hmm. Talk about ways, if somebody is listening on the other end of the radio this morning that, maybe they're not running, maybe they do run, but, they're taking this one off this year. How can they get involved in the race?
Well, there's a lot of different ways, and Brian, jump in if I miss anything, but a race is not easy to pull off, and Brian can attest to this. It takes a lot of people. So there are many different ways to get involved for the race if you're not a runner, but want to be involved in something very cool and exciting, and helping out an organization like United Way. And really, it doesn't just help us, it helps all of our partner agencies and programs that we work with. You can come out, you can volunteer at the race, you can help in a lot of different ways, like you said, handing out water, standing along the course and cheering. It's always great to have people, cheering you on at the start line. So come on out. We would love to have you along the race route. And then as a runner, just registering. You can do that through the Vertical Runner site. So Brian, any other ways you can think of to get involved?
Yeah, of course. I mean, to me, I have this conversation with people all the time. I would say, you're not a runner. Well, why not? If you're able-bodied and you can move forward, you have 9 weeks. Mm-hmm. I think that there's a misconception that there's a race. You have to be fast. I sit at the finish line of 50 to 100 races per year, and I see every age, every gender, every race, every size, you name it, people are finishing these races. So I think people that say, I'm not a runner, think of these tall, slender men and women in short shorts flying across the line. That is like 5% of the running community. The rest is people that just want to be involved and want to stay fit. So in this particular race, we have so many walkers and so many walk joggers and people that just want to be part of it. Come out, sign up, and maybe this is your kickstart to fitness. So I would say if you say you're not a runner, don't rule that out. Register, and you have 9 weeks to get yourself in shape. It's pretty easy to do. But otherwise, the same thing that Carolyn said. Sign up to volunteer. We have so many volunteers that come down and check it out, and then the next year they're like, I'm definitely running that thing. It can be a little bit life-changing. And then also the route goes through the community. So if you're a community member and you're listening to this, get a hold of us, and we'll tell you when the race will come past your house. Come out and ring a cowbell. The community is what makes a race very special. So we do need that support from the people on the course.
Yeah. Ron, can I jump in one more time?
Of course.
One of the big things that we see with Heart and Soul are actually race teams. So a lot of corporations in Wayne and Holmes counties gather employees and actually make special T-shirts and do, basically form teams and have a corporate team run in the race. And if that's the case, sometimes your company may be willing to pay for your registration since you are there trying to get fit, being philanthropic in your community. We can actually create codes for you to register, and if your company agrees, they may pay for your registration. So if you're interested, talk to your HR department and certainly see if they would like to form a race team, because they're really cool to see and people get really hyped up about it.
Brian, talk about the particulars, if you would, and some of the challenges in putting something like this on. Streets have to be closed, police have to be there directing traffic at certain points. All the things that go into making an event like this run smoothly, because especially in this day and age of just people shouting out and blasting everything negative that they don't like about any given thing on social media, if you have an event like this and a couple people don't like something, it can really put a bad taste in other people's mouths moving forward. So you want to make sure it's as good of an event as it can be.
Yeah, and it's interesting that you mentioned that, because the planning for this year's race started basically the minute after the final finisher came through last year. We spend all year planning for this one day, and by the time the gun goes off and all of our runners are out there, pretty much all of our work is done. I mean, we are organizing not just the race logistics, but we're also getting all the supplies in order, ordering all the T-shirts and medals and different items that we need for race day. And really, the biggest piece of this becomes the fundraising effort. I mean, I know Carolyn and her team are going to different businesses in the area saying, hey, would you guys be willing to support the Heart and Soul, knowing that your donation is going to United Way and going to do a lot of great things in the community. So between all of us, we're working nonstop to make sure that every single thing goes well. Now, the course itself is always a challenge, because as important as the Heart and Soul race is to us and the runners, there are thousands and thousands of other residents in the city of Worcester that go, hey, why is my city shut down for a full day? So when we start looking at the course and the race route, we have to be pretty particular about what roads we're using. And one of the cool things about the new route this year is we're utilizing a lot of city parks. So we're going to take people from in town and out of town through Oak Hill Park and Kinney Park and some of these closed street type bike paths that people that are coming from out of town might leave with the taste of, wow, Worcester has a lot of really cool little parks. It was neat to see those.
Yeah.
So it's fun working with the Worcester PD, which they are amazing professionals. I mean, they just do such a good job, and they're so particular about what they do. But it's fun kind of mapping this course in a way that will have an amazing experience for our participants, but also not necessarily shut down the whole city for a full day.
On top of the logistics of, okay, well, we don't want to shut down the main road or this or that. What are some of the things that you look for when you're designing a course? You want to make it challenging, you want to make it scenic, but you don't want to make it too challenging. Not that there's a Heartbreak Hill in Worcester, but you don't want people, running up the hill at mile 12. So what are the things that you look for as far as designing that?
Yeah, well, we are geographically challenged in Worcester.
Yeah.
Downtown happens to be at the lowest point in the city. So if you're going to start the race in downtown, unless you just want to run back and forth east and west on Liberty Street, you're going uphill to start.
You are.
So it's a blessing and a curse. We basically take people out of town at miles 1 through 3. Once you get through that and you get up into, say, where our high school is on Oak Hill Road, you now are just pretty much navigating through pretty flat terrain. The first 3 miles are challenging, but what that means then is when you get to mile 10, you're now retracing your steps. You're basically running miles 1 through 3 from 10 to 13 to finish. So the Heart and Soul race really flies from mile 9 to finish, which is nice. I mean, you've run a half marathon before. How normally you start to struggle 9, 10, 11. Now you're running downhill towards the finish, which is a great feeling. So
Yep.
Our past participants have always said, boy, if I can just get through that mile 9, I know that I'll have an amazing finish. So we see a lot of PRs. We see a lot of personal bests, so PRs. We see a lot of really amazing times, and it's fun to watch people come flying through the line and be like, wow, I can't believe how fast I just ran that, just because the course does set up to be quite quick.
Brian, talk about preparation for runners, as you mentioned. Vertical Runners, great store. I love your store. When I go in to buy my running shoes, everybody that I've gone in there has been really helpful. You'll try it on. They'll check out your gait and your walk from behind to see where you're landing, because everybody runs differently as far as where their feet hit the ground. You guys can prepare people to run. Explain that. It's not, your store's great. It's not just a store to go in and buy knee braces and shoes, though. You guys are there to help people maybe just getting started in running and trying to take that first step out the door.
Yeah, and I'm glad you feel that way. And I appreciate having you as a customer, but I'm glad you're getting that vibe, because certainly we are not a place to buy stuff. You can buy stuff there, but we are really a hub for the community. I mean, we really are. If you come down there on a Wednesday night when we have our club runs, you're going to find 50, 60 people of all paces, totally free runs, just excited to get involved with running. If you go onto our running club page on Facebook, you're going to find 1,400 members, most of them pretty active. You put a post on there and say, hey, I would like to run on Saturday morning. Anybody want to join me? 10, 15, 20 people are going to show up, all paces, all distances, ready to run. So really the way we can help is come in, get the right gear. That's the first step. That way as you get into this, you don't end up getting injured. But beyond that, we really want to be your hub. If you want to go on a run, I mean, Ron, how many runs have you thought about, no, maybe skipping, but then you have a running buddy that forces you out the door and just kind of kicks you along the street?
The second person always helps. It's all that accountability is huge.
It is, and that's really what the store has to offer. You come in there, you meet new running friends, and then those people on a Saturday morning when you're like, boy, I could sleep in, or I could go get ready for the Heart and Soul race, for sure, that's going to be a huge help. The other thing is we change our Wednesday night route to mimic the Heart and Soul route.
Oh, cool.
For the 6 weeks leading up to race day. So what happens is those folks that are preparing for race day can come on Wednesday, they can run the route. And I think that home course advantage is huge. If you know what you're up against and you know where to go fast, you know where the challenge is going to be, mentally you're already prepared and you're ready to go.
Yeah.
So certainly jumping into our group and letting us get you prepared is a huge benefit there.
Talk a little bit about what makes this, and Carolyn, you can jump in, or Brian, you can both can. What makes this race so special? Because there are so many races out there. Why, if somebody's listening, why should they choose this race?
Sure. Heart and Soul is something, as Brian said earlier, it's the only race that starts in downtown Worcester. So right off the bat, you get really a lot of out-of-towners come for this race. Believe it or not, they're coming from all over Ohio. And some, I think we even have had a few out of state before. It's a sought after race. Like Brian said, I think a lot of people know coming to the race, they can potentially PR. So I think that's a plus. I also think just kind of the hometown feeling of Heart and Soul and knowing that you're running to benefit thousands of people. It doesn't get much better than that. You're doing something you love, and in doing something you love, you can actually benefit others. So I like to think that the mission of United Way, mobilizing community resources to help people improve their lives, if people just know that and think of that, I would hope if you're a runner, it would be a no-brainer to come and run Heart and Soul, or walk the 5K, whatever. I mean, we've had people actually walk the half marathon before. So whatever your skill level, we have a place for you and would love to have you join us.
Brian, you mentioned earlier in the interview the training process. If you've never run before, obviously, I guess you shouldn't jump right into the half marathon. You've got the 5K or the 10K. Is there time to train? What is the training process to be able to do this? Come race day.
Yeah, certainly there's time to train. And really what it boils down to is just put a goal out there. What I like to tell people is the best way to accomplish a goal is put your money where your mouth is. So the first step is go online, go to verticalrunnerrm.com and sign up for the race. Now you've already done it. You're signed up. You've got this
You're
goal.
In, now you've got it.
Yeah.
Now you've got to. So now instead of skipping that workout, now you're going because you're like, oh man, I've already signed up for this thing. Step 2 is tell every person you know that you signed up. Go on your social media and say, hey, I'm running my first 5K at the Heart and Soul, follow my journey. Now, talk about accountability. Let's say you've got 500 people on your friends list. Now there's 500 people going, hey, I wonder how this is going to work out. And then just go out your front door and start walking. Walk whatever's comfortable to you. After you've done that for a few days or done that for a few weeks, find that mailbox up there and jog to that thing. And then when you're done, keep walking. And then next week, find the second mailbox and just start extending that out. And I think the important thing is, I talked to Carolyn about this morning with her own running journey.
Yes.
You will be surprised when you get to race day. You might think, I am so slow. You are not. You will not finish last. I promise you that. Certainly, you will be shocked what the running community is all about. It's about people just getting out and getting active and getting fit and enjoying themselves. Race day is exhilarating. You're standing in line with 400, 500, 600 people. The music is going, and all of a sudden they say, go. It's amazing what happens to you. And it can be pretty invigorating, and it can almost start you on a new journey, in my opinion. I mean, I know this because in 2008, I was not a runner. I did exactly what I just said. I went in and signed up for the Akron Marathon. I went out and tried to run a 2-mile loop, nearly died. But I thought, boy, if this is that, if this is something that hard, it's worth doing. And ever since, I've been running every single day.
And the running community is so supportive, too. I found that, in running in years past, it's such a cool community of people, and they want you to succeed, and they want you to cross that finish line. So they will get out there, and they will be your biggest cheerleaders. And I think that's what's really cool about what Vertical Runner's doing with their Wednesday night runs. I mean, they're building a community of runners, and I think that is it's so cool to see all those people downtown on a Wednesday night, running and doing what they love and trying to be healthy and get faster and have friends in the process.
I love what you said, Brian, because, and honestly, I assumed that you were a lifelong runner. I mean, just looking at you, and because for some people, it's kind of like going to the gym. If you haven't gone to the gym, there's that fear of, I'm not a lifter. People are going to look at me and shun you. So I'm sure some people feel that about getting out and racing, but you're right. There's such a positive vibe, and there's nobody getting shamed because they're slower than this person. And you're right. You see people that are going to run a marathon in 2 hours and 15 minutes to some people that might take 7 or 8, 9 hours. So I mean, really, it's just about getting out there and doing it. And if you could speak again about the change it's had, obviously physically, but just the enjoyment that you get from running.
Sure. Yeah. For me, I mean, I look at the circle of friends that I hang out with right now, and it's all people I've met through running. So to me, I love the physical benefits, and I love going to races and having some success. But to me, it's really about that relationship building and that community. I mean, I've played sports my whole life. I played baseball and basketball and football. And I don't know any other sport where you're in competition. Ron, you've been there.
Yeah.
You're running a race and someone passes you. and they look at you and go, "You look great, man. Good job." And I'm getting passed or getting beat by this person, and I look at them and I go, "Thanks, man. You look great too."
Right.
Like, what other sport could you do that?
Right.
You know, in baseball, you get struck out by the pitcher. The pitcher doesn't go, "Hey, good try," and you
Right.
go, "Great pitch." That just does not happen. But in running, there's this general sense of just community and kind of love for each other, which is unique to any sport that I've ever seen. So it's kind of cool, and that's what's kept me into this thing, and that's what made me want to. It's actually my wife's fault. I wanted to start a running club, and she wanted to start a store. But that's really what our brand is about, is just, I go in there on a Wednesday night and I see 50 or 60 people, and I see 2 people walk through the door together, and they're now best friends. Well, they did not know each other 3 years ago. They're best friends because of the time and the energy put into running. So it's been cool to see. So kind of circling back to the point here, if you think you're not a runner, sign up for the race and come enjoy us. We have a very open course. If you literally walk from the start line to the finish line, that course is going to be closed. It's going to be ready for you when you get to the finish line. Likely those people that finished in front of you are going to be either cheering and yelling as you come across the line. It's really a sense of community. So it's a cool experience. What I would say is you get a big town experience right here in Worcester. Which is pretty neat, and a little intimate venue, but they've got great medals. They've got great shirts. They've got all the cool items that runners expect out of a race now right here in Worcester. It's really, really cool.
And you can learn more about Heart and Soul by going on Facebook, and we have our own Facebook page for Heart and Soul here in Worcester. So please go on Facebook, check it out. We're actually going to be releasing the new half marathon course in the next few days. We're going to be showing you the new medals, the new t-shirts. Like I said, we've really tried to up the ante this year with the help of Vertical Runner, and we're really excited for the race in our 15th year, and to have it support a big campaign, the 1.43 million. Like I said, that helps thousands of people in our community in Wayne and Holmes counties, and we're just really, really excited for August 3rd to come around.
Oh, you guys are doing a great job selling the event and selling running in particular. So as we wrap things up this morning, for folks out there who want to sign up, how can they do so?
Yeah, and if they go to our site, we have a great racing website, verticalrunnerrm.com. They'll be able to click on the Heart and Soul race. It's right there on the main page, and they can go in and sign up right there. There's plenty of distances available with the 5K, 10K, and half. So basically, if you're brand new, or if you're a very competitive runner, we've got a distance for you. But there's 9 weeks to race day. So there's going to be some deadlines coming up, some shirt deadlines and some other things happening. So you'll want to get in sooner than later. Also, there are some price increases that will be coming. So if you want to save some money, certainly get signed up sooner than later. But very easy to find. If you go to the United Way website, you'll find it. If you go on Facebook and just look up Heart and Soul, you're going to find lots of information. Go to the Vertical Runner page, you're going to find us. If you don't run because you say you couldn't find the race, I'm not going to buy that.
No.
It's all over the place. It's all over the place
Yep.
out there. But we would love to have everybody. It just fill downtown for one day. It's a unique experience.
And they can always call United Way with any questions, 330-264-5576. Give us a call, and we would love to. We can even help you get registered, whatever you would need.
Carolyn, Brian, thank you again for joining us here this morning.
Yeah, thanks
you
for very
having
much.
us, Ron. We appreciate it, and hope to talk to you again soon.
Once again, joining us this morning from the United Way of Wayne and Holmes counties, Carolyn Salazar. From Vertical Runner, Brian Poland, talking about this year's Heart and Soul 5K, 10K, and half marathon coming up Saturday, August 3rd in downtown Worcester. Much more to get to on a Sunday morning. Stay tuned. We'll check in with the rest of your weekend's weather forecast up next.